It's Thursday, the 5th of February, 2026, and according to my little prompt, it's showtime. Showtime. So, welcome one and all to this week's installment of No Risk, No Reward Media Live, coming at you live on a Thursday night. And the word on the street is there's a rugby match on tonight, and people might not be coming on to the live stream. Well, to those people, I say shame. Shame on you. Shame on you for watching a rugby match over this quality entertainment. Of course, I'm only joking, or at least I'm only half joking. Didn't even know there was a rugby match on. To be quite frank with you, I don't really follow any sports, not knocking those that do. But for those that are here, and for those that have made the effort, and for those that are sticking around, and I'm talking to you, Anthony from Athlone, tells me he's going to give me the first 30 minutes. Well, thanks very much. You're going to give me 30 minutes and then give the rugby, what, 80? Thanks a lot. I know where I stand. If nothing else, I know where I stand. So people are piling in to the chat anyway. Thank God. There's some people that do not want the bread and circuses that are being presented to them tonight. Panem a circus, whatever it is in Latin. Each and every one of you are welcome. And if you are just popping in, joking aside, just for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, thank you for joining. You're more than welcome. People tend to do that. They tend to dip in and out of the live streams. And that's the good thing. Even if you don't watch it or you get sick of it after 20 minutes, you can check out the replay. The replay will be going up immediately after the live stream finishes. Make sure you leave a thumbs up, please, and a comment, please. And very importantly, listen, here's not a plea, but a message for you all. It's vitally important that if you're not subscribed to this channel at the minute, that you subscribe and you hit the notification bell. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background at the minute. And let's just say, I'm not a big believer in, oh, you're saying this, so you're getting shadow banned, and you're saying that. No, there is a change going on in the material that's being presented to people on certain platforms, and it tends to favor AI slop. There's a push for short form AI generated garbage out there, and it's pushing the organic, real people, of whom there are millions, trying to upload content to the side. So please, if you haven't done so, check your screen, check your device. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, just hit subscribe. I don't care about numbers. I'm not fussed about, oh, my subscribers are going up. I'm not interested in that at all. But what I do want is to make sure that the people that would like to see the content that I'm making actually get to see it, and they actually get notified of it. So check the subscription, hit the subscribe, and then hit the bell. Hit the little notification bell, and you will get a little ping on your device whenever I upload new content, or, for example, whenever a live stream pops up. So please do that and leave a comment in the live chat here. You can see I've set it up that it's scrolling up the screen. And also afterwards, when the stream's finished, leave a comment under the actual video. So there's lots of people in the chat. We've got 136 in already just in the first few minutes, which is great. And again, numbers are good. More people watch it, more people can share it. Hit the share button, and please do this also, if you don't mind me asking. Hit the share button, cut and paste the link to this, or lift the link and drop it into your Facebook groups, your WhatsApp groups. Send it out as an email to someone. Just say, listen, there's a live stream on in a minute, current affairs to do with Ireland. Have a look at it. You might like this person. You might like the content. If you do, stay. If you don't, just don't watch them again. But get the word out there, people, please, if you can. And again, I'm just doing a bit of housekeeping here while people are joining the live stream, and also Mr. John Wilson is waiting patiently in the wings to jump on. He reliably informs me that he's got 2 weeks worth of talking to do. So I'm just going to let him turn away whenever he hops on. So Cara96 says, good evening also. I will echo that statement for everyone that's taken the time to pop on as per now. I will also say I will miss probably a lot of your comments because they're flying up the screen, and I'm going to concentrate on John and the stories that I'm doing. But I do go back and have a little look over the live stream when it uploads later on tonight. And I do get to see some really nice comments that I may have missed during the stream. So if I ignore something that you've said or you ask me a question, I'm not being rude. Genuinely, I maybe just have missed what you have to say. Vaughn Malone says, I'm here. Hello, all. Welcome, Vaughn Malone. Sean Steed says, hi, Rick. Hi, Sean. Welcome, and I hope you're doing well. Robert Bell, the legend, says, hi, Rick. How's things? Hope you're keeping well. I'm keeping pretty good, Robert, to be frank with you. I'm feeling recovered from my little low spell of health over Christmas. Took nearly 2 months to shake the damn cough. Still got a bit of a splutter here and there, but I'm feeling a lot better for it. I'm out walking more, and yeah, I'm feeling a good bit better. Quadrex, very loyal listener, shares out the content. I see him sharing out the content on social media. Thank you, Quadrex, for all your comments, for all your shares, for promoting what I'm trying to do here. It is very much appreciated, and the same goes for everybody else that's currently sharing out content. It's really appreciated. Liz Pepper, I'm going to have a go at this. Oich, ma, Rick, Agus, Gach, Dina. How's that? How was that? Rate me on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being you suck, 5 being you're an absolute Irish legend, please. So that was my little attempt at speaking Asquiliga. Just for you, Liz. And believe me, I am trying to pick up some words here and there. Maybe this time next year, hell, I might even be fluent in Irish. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? If I can speak Swahili, damn it, why can't I learn to speak Irish? Yes, that's a fact. So there you go, Liz. Hopefully that was pleasing to your ears. Oh, look, everybody's in on the act now. I'm going to feel rightly left out. Hello, not bad. Thank you very much, Gary. I appreciate your feedback. And thankfully, there's nothing writing on it. Robert says, wouldn't miss this, Rick. Thank you, Robert. Like I said, everyone is welcome here. Just if you are here, you don't like what I'm saying, you disagree with it, you can leave a comment. I'll probably read it out. But be respectful of each other and be respectful of the live stream as well. If anyone's in to cause trouble and aggravation, and I can listen, let me tell you something. I have a special power. I can sniff out trolls and I can sniff out bullshit from a mile away. So if I see a comment, I'll pick up on it straight away if you're trouble. And if you're trouble, you're getting kicked off the stream. That's as simple as it goes. And the reason why I'm doing that, people cry and say, oh, you're censoring us, Rick. You're censoring us. I'm not, right? This is my house, as in this live stream. And you people are all my guests. And I want to make sure that my guests are comfortable and safe and they have a good time. If someone comes into my house, my actual house, I invite them in and they start disrespecting my guests, my family, or my property, they're getting their ass kicked out. So the way I see it is the same thing applies to live streaming. This is our house, our little virtual house right now. And you people all are in the living room. And some of you are in the kitchen. And some of you are in the garden behind the bushes doing God knows what. But all of you are welcome until aggro starts. Does that make sense, folks? Does that make sense? Who else is in here? Irish Mommy's in here. Paula's in the house. Hey, Rick, looking forward to the chats. Thank you, Paula. You're very, very welcome. I'm here for you in the live, Rick. I'll keep a good eye on the chat. Thank you very much, Irish Mommy, and hopefully you're feeling better also. People can go and speak freely elsewhere. Indeed. That's the bottom line. I don't ask people to agree with me. I just ask people to be respectful of each other and respectful of this live chat. And if you can do that, you're welcome to hang around forever and ever. So in 5 minutes from now, I'm going to bring in the mighty bearded one, Jerry Adams, non-identical twin, also known as John Wilson. So he's chomping at the bit to be back again. I'm just trying to use this time, to be honest with you, to just say hello to as many of you guys as I can. How's your mammy? Legend Rick, keep up the good work. Thank you very much. How's your mammy? Alan Taggart is in the house from Larne. Larne in County Antrim. What a place Larne is. If you don't know where Larne is and you've never been to Larne, you haven't missed anything. It's a hellhole. No, I'm only joking. It's a lovely place. That's where people leave Northern Ireland. They go out of Larne Harbour. Hey, Pat. No Jab here is in the house. Also, Saoirse Nahern is in the house. I saw her popping up. Yeah, Jerry Adams. Hit the like button, folks. Yes, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, very importantly, and make sure you leave a comment and put the comments in on this live stream as well. Trying to see who else is in here. Wish I was fluent in Irish, more important now than ever. Yeah, it's good. And I'll tell you this, irrespective of anything else, it's good for your brain. You know, most of our brains are slowly being turned to mush by watching people like me talking on the TV or by scrolling endlessly on your phones. So if you can combine learning something that's important to you culturally and stimulating your brain for that reason and that reason alone, I think it's worth it. To learn another language. And of course, if you're living in Ireland and you have a fondness of your love and your heritage, of your tradition, then why not get stuck into the Irish books? There's plenty of courses online and YouTube channels on there. Pick up some basic conversational statements, some greetings, goodbyes, ask a few basic questions, and then start to use them in everyday life if you can, or with other people that actually speak the lingo. Okay, so Jeepers Rick, don't do that impression again. I'm not sure which one I did, but whatever it is, I'll probably try and keep my impressions to a minimum. Who else is on here? Rick, did you see the interview with the Jordanian and Niall today? These traders in Dublin have given him everything. No, I didn't see that, Sunny Irish, but I'll have a look and see if I can pick up on it and maybe do something about that on one of my uploads tomorrow. Did you hear any more on the bus incident? For those that don't already know, I'm not going to cover it in this show, but there was a bus crash. They call it a crash in Dublin today. And one person's dead, 3 people are hospitalized. They haven't given much more information about it than that. So let's wait and see before a lot of people are already jumping to conclusions, but we'll wait and see. We shall wait and see. Bottle Cap 57, Lisburn here, Lisburn in hell. That's what I call Lisburn. Why? Because I was born in Lisburn and I grew up in Lisburn, and boy, it took me a long time to escape from Lisburn. Bottle Cap 57. So yes, welcome from my place of birth. I used to say I was born in Lisburn and I'll probably die in Lisburn, but I hope I don't. Hope I don't now, or maybe I will. Who knows? Lagan Valley Hospital for the win. Rick, it's one of his shorts, as in the guy with the Jordan. He had a halal shop that Dublin played for it. No, I haven't seen that. Thank you for your beautiful post about me earlier. It made me cry. I don't know if you're talking to me or not, but I don't think, Shamrock, I hate to burst your bubble, mate, but I don't think I made a post about you earlier. But if you cried and you thought it was from me, that's a beautiful thing. Oh, no, my apologies. I'm not trying to be funny or rude. I didn't know you were having a conversation there with Saoirse Nahern. So between you two guys, you're showing love and appreciation from each other. So that's good. That's what we like. We like a bit of love and we like a bit of appreciation, but not too much love and not too much appreciation. We don't want to spoil people. We can spoil people with too much love. So it's time for me to throw it out to you guys here. Do you want John Wilson to come into the live chat now, or do you want me to keep him in the sin bin for another 15 minutes? If you want him in now, type in Y, capital Y, if you want him to be remaining in outer darkness where there is weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth, otherwise known as Cavan Town. Hit S for sin, P for purgatory, or H for hell or Hades. We've got 1 Y so far. That's not very nice. Oh, we've got 2, we've got 3, got 4. John Wilson has been summoned like a witness in a murder trial. He's been summoned. So without any further ado, brace yourselves, folks. If you're not sitting down, please sit down right now. Here he is, the one and only, back from the wasteland, John Wilson. John Wilson.
I see you have Lisburn derangement syndrome now, Rick.
Lisburn in hell. That's what I call it. Yeah, that's my hometown, John. That's where I was born. That's where I was raised, and I learned all my bad habits in Lisburn.
It's great to be back, and my only message is, ladies, I'm back. That's it, nothing else. Thanks for all the good wishes for those people who knew why I was absent last week. I think it's important. I'm talking mainly to the gentlemen here because only men can get prostate-related problems, but I had to undergo an medical procedure last Tuesday week. And I'm grateful to God that everything went well. I was expecting maybe a worse outcome, but that's my nature. Unfortunately, I wasn't overly worried, but I was concerned. And I developed for the last week, the week after, I developed a great relationship with my best friend, Kat, or Catheter. And thank God, myself and Kat parted company last Tuesday. So I'm getting back to normal, thanks be to God. Thanks for all the good wishes from those who knew why I was absent. And I just have to comment on the man, the man who stood in for me last week, Mr. Philip Dwyer. Really he did his best, in fairness to him, but I have no doubt he will go a long way in broadcasting, but I think he still has a lot to learn,
Well, he's got a style, and you know what? I couldn't take as many slaps to the head with a truncheon or a gimbal as Philip has, and he is an absolute legend. Even my wife said to me earlier on tonight, and in fact, John has suggested this also. Let me put this one out to the live chat as well. Talking about getting three on the live stream, three on the live chat. John was originally fielding the idea of Philip, me, and him doing a little recording together, a standard video that I would do for 10 or 15 minutes, but maybe even for a portion of the live stream, maybe get him on as well, or rotate it between the two. I don't know. All right, so I'm still finding my feet here with this live stream, the format, when I put it up, how long it goes on for, what time we start broadcasting for, etc., etc. So please make sure you leave your comments below and tell us if that is something you would like to see, more than one person on the live stream at a time.
Ladies and gentlemen, it will be called the WMD podcast. Wilson, Munn, and Dwyer, Weapons of Mass Destruction.
That's a damn catchy name, John, if you don't mind.
With a red background and black writing, WMD in large black lettering.
Leroy 6149 says, "Hi Rick, lovely show, love the content. I'm from Dublin. Here we go. So here's a question for you, John. I want to ask John a question, please. When he was a Garda in Dublin in the 80s, does he remember a guy by the name of Hunter and a Garda called Simple? So do you remember Hunter and do you remember Simple back in the day in Dublin?"
Not offhand, but I am getting old and my memory is starting to fade. I started off in the 80s and I finished off on 2013, on the 1st of May 2013. I was a member of Garda Síochána from the 22nd of September 1982 until the 1st of May 2013. No, I don't. They were nicknames. Yeah, hold on. I'll try and go back into my memory bank and see, can I think of those two names. I met a lot of great characters in Garda Síochána in those days. I don't think there are many characters in Garda Síochána now, unfortunately, in this new woke age. But I'll just go back and see, can I remember those two. I will try my best.
Okay, here's another statement here that could be looked at as a very positive thing or maybe a very negative thing, John. Patricia Riley 8841 says, "Once a cop, always a cop," John. Is that good? Is it bad? Or speaking to an ex-cop, is it accurate? Can you ever shake the guard from within you, or would you even want to?
Hello, Patricia. Well, I was a proud member of Garda Síochána for over 30 years. Now, I know once a cop, always a cop. That's used as a term of insult, not a term of endearment. I'm not saying Patricia means it that way, but I don't know. I must have been. I think I was unique in my style. I was never 100% loyal to everything. I mean, I have always questioned everything. I never just.
Corrupt.
I never.
Corrupt.
What?
You were corrupt. You were on the take.
Well, listen. I might tell you some stories sometimes, but I think if you did a feature on a guard that was jailed for, but he got 3 years and there was 2 suspended there for assault on a prisoner.
Correct.
It's very easy to get carried away in a hostile situation, and guards are meant to be able to control themselves. And this guard unfortunately couldn't. And I don't think the individual that he assaulted was of the highest caliber, let's say. And let's put it this way. During my career, I could have ended up in prison a few times. Let's put it that way.
But you didn't.
Oh, I didn't. No.
I was.
And yes, Mr. Cheeky Chap. Yes, I tried to be as fair as I could. I never. Let's put it this way. I always treated the poorest man I met equally with the richest person that I ever met. I tried to treat people equally throughout my service, and I always tried to treat people fairly. And I think some of the people that I would have had serious confrontations with, if they're still alive, I think they would still give you that response. I always try to be fair to everybody.
You mentioned the arrest, and this is covered on the channel this week. And by the way, if you've just hopped on tonight and you're just dropping in for the live stream, make sure you check all the content that I put up this week. Putting up a lot of videos this week about a lot of different issues. But the incident that John is referring to is there was a Garda got jailed. He's only going to do a year, but he got 3 years, 2 years suspended, 1 year in prison for how would you say, spear tackling a handcuffed, intoxicated teenager who was already lying on the ground. I think it said he yanked him up by the handcuffs and then he dropped them on his head, caused a fractured skull, caused a lot of, could have killed the guy. Let's be brutally honest about it. He ended up getting 12 months. But he was a younger man, let's just say, and he got a good reference from an old superintendent, as you would expect. I don't want to say, it's a given that the draw ranks, but usually this, they do. But is that not I'll be honest with you folks out there, I could never be a cop or a teacher or anything that involves, or a shop assistant, right? Not because I'm too good for that, but because I don't have the temperament, right? So if I was working in a supermarket and you came up to me and you were rude to me, you asked me where the tins of baked beans are, you would probably get a can of beans somewhere that you didn't expect, right? Or if I was a teacher and I got lip from teenage mouthpieces, I don't think I could control myself. I wouldn't have the composure for that. Or a cop, if I was being provoked or called certain nasty names, I don't think I would have the patience for that. So respect to you, John. You're you can get fiery. I've seen you getting a little bit fired up, but you keep a level head on it. You keep your powder dry. So I think, I don't know about your career, except what you've told me. I think John would have been a good cop. And thanks very much, by the way, for Mick the Paddy, for the donation. I really, really appreciate it. I'm just going to say this also. There was a problem last week with the super chats. Some people kept getting rejected and bounced back. If you feel led to support the channel, and thank you, Mick, for doing it. If you feel led to do so, and it doesn't work when you click on the button here, there's a link underneath for the buy me a coffee thing. If you want to use it, then that's an alternative. Okay. So I'm just saying that as housekeeping. But thank you for everybody that supports the channel. You're all appreciated.
Yeah, Quadrex made a comment there about whistleblowing, and in relation to what I did, I just wasn't prepared to stand by and watch the corruption I witnessed with the penalty point system. I mean, I never professed to be a saint during my time as member of Garda Síochána, but I always treated people fairly. I always treated the richest man and the poorest man equally. That's the way I treated everybody. Listen, unfortunately, that man now is gone. He's only, 33 years of age, that guard. and he'll find it very difficult to get employment when he gets released from prison. I know. I mean, Gardaí are meant to be disciplined. Well, we were constantly told that we were members of a disciplined force. But I can understand. Gardaí are human beings, and I can understand Gardaí losing the head with scumbags.
I can too. That's what I mean. That's why I said and I meant it respectfully. I couldn't do the job. I don't have the temperament. That's why I'm such a loner. That's why I'm a lone wolf, because people aggravate the hell out of me. And I'm a nasty, miserable little git. And when I'm sitting on the screen, I'm okay because there's no people around me. All right. There's no one in the room with me, at least. I don't think there is. And it works. It works for me. I just don't have the temperament for it. So thank you also. No face, no case for the dono on there as well. Saoirse says brute. Now, this is the thing. That guard was young. Yes, he might have had a bad night. But the way I see it is, John,
no excuse.
If he lost his rag at 33, he would have had maybe another 20 odd years. What if he'd have killed that young guy? What if he'd have given him damage?
No, it could have happened. No, I'm not.
And I know you're not defending him, by the way. I know you're not defending him.
I'm in no way trying to defend him. I'm in no way trying to excuse him. All I'm saying is that Gardaí, I'm speaking from, I mean, the caliber of a lot of Gardaí that I see in action today, they're not as good as we were. I don't give a damn what anyone says. They don't have the same caliber. They don't have the same professionalism that we had. All right. Now I'm an old timer, and of course, all old men say the same thing. Oh, in my day, things were much better. But I'm not impressed with the caliber of many of the members of Garda Síochána that we have in Ireland today. I'm not excusing what he did. He could have easily killed that young man. I'm not excusing him. But what I'm saying is, it's easy for hurlers on the ditch to say, oh, this is terrible, terrible, terrible. You will never know how you're going to react until you're faced with adversity. Having said that, Gardaí are meant to be professionals and act professionally. And that guard did not act professionally, and it's cost him his freedom, and it's cost him his job. All right? And he's going to find it very difficult to get a job when he's released from prison. I see that he's completed a law degree, and he might take up the law. He might become a barrister or a solicitor. And the best of luck to the chap. But he could have killed that young fella, right? He could have killed him.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that there were times every human being gets wound up at times. And Gardaí are no different, okay? Again, to reiterate, I'm not impressed by what I'm witnessing at the moment. I'm not impressed by the caliber of many members of Garda Síochána that are now policing our streets.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, they're shorter. They're shorter and fatter. And I say this is a short, fat guy, so I'm not having a go at anyone that's vertically challenged. I'm a short ass myself, and I'm carrying a little pot or a big pot.
I wish
it was a little pot.
Yeah, but Rick, that's I think that's an unfair comment.
But I could get in. But John, listen, I could get in. I could join the PSNI probably now, even though I'm 52, I'm short and I'm unfit.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had to be at least 6 feet tall if you were a guy, and about 5'9" for a woman, and past basic physical fitness, and have a level head on your shoulders. So that seems to be out the window. In fact, are they not? They're dropping the criteria. They're dropping the fitness levels, and they're dropping the it's just the ability to do the job now, just to get people in the door. But that's not a good thing to do.
No, well, I'm just saying, okay, the fact that one is 5 feet 2 inches tall, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be a bad police officer.
Yeah.
Now, I understand what you're saying. I mean, okay, right. In my day, you had to be over 5 feet, was it 5'9" or 10 or whatever? I'm 6 feet, whatever, 6'1" or something in that region. I mean, an awful lot of people missed out on becoming guards by tiny little fractions. Really, there were some poor devils. They went on racks. They literally tried to stretch their bodies to make them taller. I'm not saying. Listen, I mean, somebody 5 feet 1 or 2 or 3 could be a fantastic police officer. It's all about. I mean, I'll tell you, quite simply put. On Garda Síochána, being a police officer, you can either do the job or you can't do the job. But just to reiterate what I've said a couple of times, there's no excusing what that guard did. I'm not excusing him, right? But unfortunately, I'm not impressed by many of the guards that I'm seeing now on the street. That's my own personal opinion. Someone can come along and say that I'm totally wrong. I'm sure there are some fine individuals within Garda Síochána, many fine people within Garda Síochána. Let's pray to God that there are, or we are really in trouble. I think that, I mean, listen, it's on record. I've said it many times. The way the Gardaí handle the protests outside plantation centres is disgusting and shocking. And the way they got away with brutalising many of the protesters is shocking. It's unacceptable, and it should not be tolerated in a democratic country. Unfortunately, Ireland is no longer really a democracy, a democratic country. No, it's not. I know this is. I'm going off track here slightly, but we're going to have to put an end to this, to the cancellation of comedy shows and events, just because some people don't like the political opinions of those who are booking the venues. This crap has got to end, and there has to be a legal case, and with the help of God, there's going to be a legal case coming up very, very soon to test this policy of accepting bookings, being pressurized by these left-wing scumbags. Then the owners of the hotels and the venues are pulling the events, and which leaves these people going around trying to get alternative venues. And I'm aware of one case. I'm not going to say it, but anyone that's fully aware of what's happening at the moment will know who I'm talking about. But there's one event was cancelled by a hotel. Then they got a replacement venue that was cancelled. They're after getting another venue, and I'm afraid that's in danger of being cancelled as well. We have to bring this to an end. We have to stop this. I mean, a license, a premises, a business can't refuse business to somebody on the grounds of ethnicity. A traveller can't be refused service by virtue of the fact that he or she is a member of the travelling community, right? But it seems to be okay to cancel events on the basis of the political opinions of the people of the attendees and of the organisers. This is a form of tyranny that must be brought to an end, and hopefully there's a legal case being constituted at the moment that will hopefully bring an end to this discrimination. And it is discrimination, and it is terrorism. It is a form of domestic terrorism, intimidating pubs and hotels and other venues into cancelling events that have been organised by people on the so-called far right, whose opinions you don't agree with, has got to be brought to an end legally. There has to be a legal case. There has to be a line in the sand drawn here to stop these scumbags from cancelling these events. It has to happen. It has to happen very, very soon. And if it necessitates an act of the Oireachtas to do this, then so be it. That's going to have to happen. Because remember,
I don't think they'll be quick to do that, John, because let's face it, let's be brutally honest about it. The type of events that are being cancelled are not exactly the ones that are Oireachtas friendly, in that they're probably not left-leaning events. They're almost always so-called right-leaning events. So I would say you can bring it to their attention. But having said that, and to give credit to the event organizers that do get cancelled, they're enterprising in that they do find alternate venues and they do keep the show on the road. I don't know of anyone that has been defeated as yet, but it's a pain in the ass and it shouldn't be happening. Let me address this here also. Ethna C1Z, every fucking week I don't get notifications of the live show, so you've missed half of it. All I would say is, listen, if you go onto the channel, on the posts tab, there's a tab called posts. I will put up a post on a Thursday to say if the show is on the Thursday night at 7:30 or at a different time, or if it's not on. Check that and make sure you have your notification bell activated on your subscription, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So just check that, Ethna. Just check that you're subscribed, number one, and that you have the notification bell hit, number two. And failing that, if it's a blip, just check on a Thursday night round about 7:30. And even if you do miss it, okay, you can always go back and watch it on catch up. Now, John, I have quite a few, let me just say, articles that I've highlighted to get your valuable input on tonight. We're going to be looking at the insanity that's happening in Spain, where 500,000 literal invaders have been given residency there, and they're bringing in their families. It's just, if you think Ireland's bad at the minute, and it is, don't look at Spain, because you bet your ass Harris et al. Are looking over there going, well, if Spain can do it, we want to be good little globalist Europeans.
No.
We're going to do it as well. Well, look at what Spain is doing. I want to look at the response this week, the magic wand response to the flooding that was going on in Enniscorthy, where Micheál Martin came down, stretched his hand, Moses-like over the river, as if he was trying to part the Red Sea, which of course he can't do. And then he said, I have no magic wand. I can't just wave a magic wand and make things better. I want to look at that. But first of all, because you're talking about legal cases, and in case any of you missed it today, there's a little bit of good news on the Enoch Burke front. So yeah. I want to bring this one up here tonight. If you haven't already seen it, go and watch the video I uploaded on this morning. 2 members of the panel in the Enoch Burke case have resigned, a court has been told. And let me move John and I's head closer to Mr. Burke here, and let me take the comments off so you can read it. So 2 members have resigned, John, in the disciplinary appeals panel hearing his appeal against dismissal from Wilson's Hospital School. The High Court was told that Sean O'Longan and Jack Cleary, and then it gives you their titles, have resigned, but Geraldine O'Brien remains on there. The body convened to hear his appeal, and apparently they have been told or advised, John, legally to get the hell out of Dodge, because there's something highly sus about what's going on with Mr. Burke. Did you see this today? And if so, what do you make of it?
Yeah, and I know somebody was in court yesterday during the case to hear the case, and the media didn't report everything, of course. Enoch Burke and the Burke family are unbreakable. They are unbreakable. They're getting stronger every day, and I applaud them. They don't allow insiders into their circle, but I still applaud them. They are absolutely wonderful people. And you see, people forget the fact that this panel was established not to look into the fact that he's been allegedly breaching fantasy court orders. Their sole remit, or this panel, when it eventually is constituted, their sole remit will be to examine the circumstances surrounding his dismissal. Now, he was dismissed because he refused to use the pronouns they, them, and he refused to acknowledge that a male student had identified as a female, which is impossible. Not virtually, it's impossible. You can't. Sex is immutable, right? And I think that, I think the member that has remained on the board is actually the member that Enoch Burke wants removed from the board. But the other 2 members, now I think I'm open to correction, but I think that's the way it is. But the 2 members that have stepped down, no reason has been given for their resignations from the board. But this board will solely have to examine his appeal against dismissal, against the grounds that were used to dismiss him as an employee of the school. And I think something happened last week, or was it 2 weeks ago, where a judge refused to bend the knee to this lunacy, to this demonic lunacy. He refused to use the preferred pronouns of a young person that appeared before him in a family law case. And I think that may mark a change in what's happening here. Now, it's probably only another false dawn, because our government are welded to this transgender demonic lunacy. And just referring briefly back to my visit to a medical clinic, I got a procedure that only relates to a male, that only a male can get, okay, because only males have a prostate. Under current Irish law, I could have identified as a female, be living my life as a female, and went into that clinic and got medical treatment that only a male can get. That's how fucking demonic it is. This is demonic lunacy. Enoch Burke, how many other people would be willing to go to prison for, I think it's almost 600 days at this stage? How many people listening to this podcast, or anyone else in this country, would be willing to go to prison and spend, I'd say most of the time he's in solitary confinement, because I think I suspect the prison authorities are afraid to let him mix with the general population. I think he may be mixing with a few other inmates. There could be a few other people there in solitary as well that he could be associating with. I don't think he's allowed into the general, to mix with the general prison population. Again, I'm open to correction, but I suspect not, because I suspect that the prison authorities are afraid that somebody could end up stabbing or killing them within the grounds, and they don't want that.
Yeah,
they don't want the publicity around any attacks on the man. And God bless him. I mean, I wish him well. I'm sorry that they don't actually mix with other people, but it's their own business, it's their own prerogative. The Burke family are unbreakable, and I think that this is going to pose a quandary now, because for the school and for the state, because the grounds of his dismissal. I mean, the Burkes are not violent people. They don't cause riots. They don't cause, they don't fight. They are they are robust in their deliverance of the messages that they want to deliver to the courts and to the public. Yes, fine, that's fantastic, and they should be congratulated for that and supported in that. He was sacked. He allegedly disrupted some social event over there, and he challenged the then principal about this demonic lunacy, the fantasy that a boy had to be referred to as a girl or whatever. And this is just this insanity has to be stood up to, and these people have just got to be flipping told to go fuck themselves.
Yeah,
they are defying biological reality. They are defying biological reality. If everybody refused to obey court orders, we'd have anarchy in the country. Yes, fine, that's a fact. But court orders have got to be based on fact and not in fantasy. The court order that is Enoch Burke in Mountjoy Prison tonight, as we are speaking here live, and no risk, no reward media with the great Rick Munn, is based on fantasy.
Yeah. I want to bring up a comment here. No Face, No Case Dublin. Just a shout out to the Dublin Says No group. There was another comment that was up, John, while you were speaking, to say that there's a squad of people, 12 to 15 every Sunday, are going and effectively standing for and with Enoch Burke outside Mountjoy Prison. So respect
I will join them.
The respect to the Dublin Says No crew, and also thank you to Quadrex for the support as well. I saw your message popping up while John was talking there too. Someone says, in relation to what you said, John, exactly, biological reality. Maria Kay says he's a very brave man. He should never have been treated like that. I'm just bringing up some very good comments here. Saoirse Ahern says it's not written in the law that any teacher has to address a student by their preferred pronouns. Now, here's another point, John, on what Saoirse's just said there. One of the points that was made in this movement today was that the law now accepts that a teacher should not have to acknowledge a pupil by their so-called preferred gender pronoun, which is really the fuse that lit this whole saga off, or lit this keg of dynamite off in the first place. And if you notice, just if I can bring your attention, folks, to the bottom of the first paragraph on that page that's highlighted in the middle of your screen there, it says the High Court was told that the two people that have stepped off the panel have stepped down on legal advice, John. They haven't stepped down as a matter of conscience. They haven't stepped down because they have seen the light. They've obviously got counselling, and some solicitor, John, has tapped them both on the shoulder and said, you might want to distance yourself from this appeals panel, and out the door they have went. What do you make of that?
Well, it's coincidentally, I saw a post this evening, Tommy Robinson post, where he received complaints from the parents of pupils in a school in Birmingham. And there's a 6'4" black man with a beard who identifies as a woman and wants to be referred to as, is it MX or whatever it's called? Some other, sorry, Mix. Yeah. And any child that doesn't give into this demonic lunatic's wishes is taken away to be indoctrinated by another teacher in the school, that they have to comply. It started off when some young boy called this demon Sor, and he blew his lid, he blew a fuse, and all hell broke loose. So Tommy doorstepped him. This guy is 6'4" in height, with the kind of wearing the wig and the dress, the female clothing, And Tommy put it up to him and had him in absolute knots. Your man didn't know what to do. He ran back into his house eventually. All right. Now that's what's going on. This indoctrination is going on in the UK, which is not too far away from here. All right. Any student that won't call this demonic lunatic mix, or whatever the hell it is, okay, is sent off to be retrained, to be indoctrinated by another staff member. Children are being bullied. A couple of parents contacted Tommy Robinson, and he has put the school on the map now this afternoon. Okay, I saw the video. I mean, this is disgusting. This is demonic lunacy. I attended a protest a couple of years ago. Well, it was actually a prayer vigil for Enoch Burke outside of Mount Shire Prison. And I did an interview with the Irish Inquiry with Stephen Carr. And I said, I attacked the government, and I described what's happening as demonic lunacy, which it is. It was taken down off TikTok for hate speech. My comments, it was taken because of what I said, because of the factual comments. I spoke about biological reality and whatever. I mean, the fact that there are only two sexes, male and female. Blah. I spoke about biological reality. And TikTok took it down because they classed what I said as hate speech. It's still up on X, okay, right? You see, it gets back to the cancellation of the events. When these perverts are getting away, they've gotten away for so long with cancelling events and with forcing their transgender demonic ideology onto the populace. They have forced our traitorous government to accept this ideology. There are several government ministers. There's one idiot who's one of her children has decided. I think it was a girl who decided that all of a sudden that she is male, and your woman talks about her son or whatever. This is Mary Lou has a brother who's one of these individuals, and I think does she not refer to her brother, her brother, as her sister? This is insanity.
Just some people are bringing this sort of conversation up in parallel to the one we're having. Somebody asked, does anybody think we can vote our way out of this? Johnny here has said, no way we're voting our way out of this, unfortunately. Let me give you all some good news. The good news is this is not a political thing. Let me explain what I mean by that. If you're waiting for a saviour party to rise from the ashes of the Irish nationalist movement and get into power, you're going to be looking at least a 10 to 15 year wait. It's not happening anytime soon, by which case these kids will all have grown up and went on to university where they'll be getting indoctrinated further since. One time I got a great piece of advice from the legend, the Cookstown Sizzler, Mark Anthony, and he said this because he has researched this extensively. If you have a child in primary school and they're trying to push garbage in the school, you ask for a meeting with the principal. It has to be done in a certain order. So you write a letter to the principal. You say that you are concerned. You ask for a meeting. You go and see the principal. You keep it respectful. You say, I'm not comfortable with my child being taught this. I think this is wrong. I think this is going to be damaging for the child. What are you going to do about it? If the principal then turns around and says nothing, you can say, well, I am prepared to deregister my child from your school. And every child that's registered with a school, the school receives a certain amount of money to pay the bills and to keep the place rolling. All it would take would be 50 to 100 parents to deregister their children, and the school's income would drop by tens of thousands of pounds per year. They couldn't keep the place going. So let me say this, and I'm just saying this because people ask about solutions and people ask about what can be done. This can be done. You will have to coordinate it. You will have to get people that will take a stand and put their head above the parapet for it. But you do not need a political solution to this. You have the power. The people have the power. You need numbers and you need coordination. Forget politics. Forget political saviors. You can do it, but you need to be coordinated. So that's my answer to that. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I'll get back to the vote in a second, but in relation to this specific issue, and I understand what you're saying about withdrawing children from school, but as you are aware, Rick, in this country now, secondary school students are being indoctrinated with this transgender poison. And I know one parent who has taken her daughter out of that class. She has told the school that under no circumstances is her daughter to be subjected to this demonic poison. Okay? Guess how many other parents have taken their children out of that class?
Zero.
So you're talking of people withdrawing from the school and forcing the, kind of costing the schools.
But you need numbers. You need the numbers, John.
Yeah. One brave lady who will take no shit from nobody. And she made it very, very clear, you're not going to indoctrinate my child, my daughter, with this poison. And that little girl has to leave the class when that indoctrination class has taken place. But not one other student has been taken out of that class by their parents, which it's very telling, to be totally honest with you. In relation to the previous comment that we're not going to vote our way out of this, the sad reality is, and it's a hard reality to take for me and you, Rick, and for people watching this podcast, most Irish people are not willing to do anything to save our country and to save our race. They're just sitting on their hands doing sweet FA. They're waiting for the minority of us that are interested in saving our country and in saving our race to do something. And then if we start having some success, then they'll all join in. Okay. Everybody loves a winner. Getting back to Enoch Burke, unfortunately, the vast majority of people in this country do not respect that man for some reason unknown to me. The sad reality is that the majority of Irish people have no interest in Enoch Burke in his case. They have no interest. Why did he not do what he was told? That's the attitude. And the gentleman that I referred to earlier on, who was in court yesterday, he was the only person there supporting Enoch Burke.
Christine, sorry, just in relation to the only person supporting Enoch Burke, Christine says, I can't understand how other parents haven't deregistered their kids. It's meant to be a Christian school. And also, Irish Mommy said also that she's currently homeschooling her youngest. I did the same thing. My wife and I pulled our daughter out of secondary school during all the lockdowns. Our brains were being fried with the garbage that was being taught there and the whole way the children were being treated like prisoners in the school. We pulled her out of her school, and out of 800, maybe 800 people in the school, we were the only people that did it. Right. But you know what? If it's your kids' mental well-being at stake, it doesn't matter if you're the only person in Ireland that does it.
Yeah.
You got to put them first. But to get the result that you're talking about, John, and you rightly said, you might be the only one. This needs numbers for it to work on scale, but you can make it work individually if you're prepared to take the plunge. So it's not easy, but folks,
in relation,
it can be done.
In relation to what we put Christine, hello Irish Mammy, by the way, in relation to Christine's comment there, you see, in relation to Enoch Burke, even the people that go to mass and go to religious services every Sunday are not supporting Enoch Burke. An awful lot of them don't support Enoch Burke. They have no interest. I just can't. It beggars belief. I mean, I spoke to a priest around the time that this started, and it was a kind of shh. It's not our school. Nothing got to do with us. The Catholic Church, the leadership of, and now I know, and before anyone comes along and says, "Oh, Enoch Burke is not a Catholic." Yes, I'm very well aware he's not a Catholic. Right? He's a Christian. He's a Christian. Okay. That's all that matters. Now, the priest that I spoke to, there's no, there is no leadership from the Irish Catholic Church. There's no the Catholic Church leadership in Ireland. They're just keeping their respective heads down. They're doing nothing. They're saying nothing. They were so badly beaten by the child abuse scandals back a couple of decades ago. They are no longer leading. It's not a church leadership. They appear to go along with everything that the government suggests and enact into legislation, without even a whisper, without even a shout, without any objections being made to the government. Okay, there was a time that we know all about Archbishop John Charles McQuaid. You know, the iron grip he had on the government and on the country and on society. Those days are long gone. But the leadership of the church in Ireland, it's time they started acting like leader. You know, it's called leadership for a reason. There's no leadership from the Catholic Church. And I explained to this priest at the time, I said, but Father, this is going to come to a school near you. It's going to affect Catholic schools. I'm sure it is affecting Christian schools. Mm-hmm. All right. But this demonic lunacy, and that's what it is. This transgender demonic lunacy has got to stop. It has got to be brought to an end. These people, biological sex is real. Imagine you. There's one very nice lady that she's a member of this channel, and she subscribes to this channel, and she is so fearful. She has 2 lovely daughters, and she is frightened for their future. You know what I'm talking about.
I
She's
know who you're
frightened.
talking about.
She is
Yes.
frightened. She is frightened about the future of her 2 daughters. Instead of enjoying life and enjoying every moment with her daughters and with her husband, with her family, she is worried sick about her daughter, about the future of her daughters in this country, which is that is horrendous. I mean, it's coming to a stage now where we need to push back. I mean, the majority, what we are witnessing is tyranny, is the tyranny of the minority in Ireland. It's time the majority stood up and started pushing back against these demonic lunatics, and that's what they are. They are literally demons. That's what they are.
I wanna oh yeah, by the way, if you can, Margaret, thank you very much, Margaret Bingham. I shared the live stream at the start. I just thought it would be good for others to watch. Thank you very much for doing that, Margaret. If you're in the chat or you've just arrived, because people come and go, these numbers stay pretty steady, but there's a blob of people leave every 50 minutes and another blob of people join, and people leave and come in and out. So if you've just joined, please hit the share button, share this out in your Facebook groups, your WhatsApp groups, or whatever, and make sure you leave a comment in the live chat and also in the box underneath the video if you can. So thank you for sharing that out. But listen, let's get back onto the Burke business if we can, just very briefly, John. Let me move this over this way. The body is convened to hear his appeal last December. So Enoch Burke, of course, made a lot of hullabaloo about this to say that it was a farce, it was a sham, the whole process was rotten, to which he was lambasted by the judge just before Christmas. Well, in a strange turn of events, now he's in the position whereby Mr. Burke appeared at the hearing today by video link, calling the panel a shambles, which it is. 2 people have resigned now because of legal advice. He said there was something rotten at the heart of the process and accused members of skipping it and making off instead of staying around to answer questions. Now, you remember, John, when we covered this maybe a few weeks ago, he was released, oddly released at the turn of a penny by the judge to prepare his appeal, to which Enoch Burke replied, I can do this from Mountjoy. I don't need to be released. And if you release me, I'm going straight back to Wilson's Hospital School. You'll find me at the gates tomorrow morning. You can arrest me again. You're just wasting everyone's time. The judge released him anyway. Do you think, John, that was a foreshadowing of the fact that the judge was almost trying to water this down and appear almost, how would you say, accommodating him, when Enoch Burke actually turned around and said, there's other men in Mountjoy prison, they're not getting released to prepare their appeals. Why are you giving me this special treatment? It's rotten.
No. The learned judge was not, he didn't mean to be accommodating to Enoch Burke. They despise Enoch Burke. As I said in a previous podcast, the fact that he released him after saying he wasn't going to get out until he purged his contempt and he had to remain in prison over Christmas, I think the fact that he was released was meant to be a clear message to the school that the judiciary are fed up with this case and they want a resolution, and they want a resolution very, very quick. And I think the fact that 2 members of this appeals board have now stepped down, and he didn't ask for these 2 people to step down. I think it was the 3rd member he wants removed from the appeals panel, as far as I know. That's as far as I'm aware. I think the fact that he was released was kind of the judge saying to the school, I'm not happy. We're not happy. The judiciary are not happy with the way that you are dealing with this case. Get a move on, Wilson School, and deal with this issue and deal with it fast. That's why the judge knew rightly he was going to go back to the school the next day. He knew that Enoch Burke was going to go back, and he knew that he would have to put him back in prison the following week. But he's in prison on foot of a fantasy court order. Every court order must be based on fact. This court order, the court order that has put Enoch Burke back in prison, is a fantasy order. It's based on fantasy. Yeah. And I think you mentioned the comment earlier on about that these 2 people had received legal advice. That wouldn't surprise me, because the Washington Post, which is no great friend of Donald Trump or the Republican Party, there was an editorial in the last couple of days, or an article in the last couple of days, which says that I think the medical board in America are advising their members not to participate in these so-called transgender surgeries. Now, they're doing that for a reason. I mean, obviously it's because they are facing multi-billion and trillion-dollar lawsuits in America, I think, in relation to the brutality, these savage operations that have been undertaken against vulnerable, mentally ill young men and young women mostly. You cannot change your sex. I mean, you can't. Sex is immutable. In 100 years' time, if these bodies are dug up, there'll be either male bodies or female bodies. They won't say here, oh, this is a transgender woman or a transgender man. Absolute fucking demonic lunacy, right? But these operations are barbaric. I saw one of these people who underwent the so-called transitioning program. Totally regrets, is now suffering from buyer's regret, is suffering serious health effects, which they don't tell you at the time, of course. And that this individual is more than likely going to die within a very short time because of the brutality, because of the butchery that was performed on her. It was a woman that transitioned into becoming a man. Well, you can't do that, but in the fantasy world, you can. But this woman is now trying to transition back to her normal state. It's impossible to do. Her ovaries are gone. Her breasts are gone. Her body is being destroyed, and she literally has a limited lifespan ahead of her, unfortunately. But she was sold this lie. She was obviously mentally ill, and was told that, oh, you're not happy in your body, right? Okay, you should transition into becoming a man, and you'll be a man then, and you'll be happy, and your life will be full of pink teddy bears and fluffy clouds. But no. This brutality, this assault, these brutal assaults on men and women, where they have their private parts cut off, it is demonic. The hottest place in hell has been reserved for these so-called doctors and surgeons.
Correct. And that, if it's worth anything for anybody that's listening out there that's just disgusted and appalled by this, as both myself and John are, there is a hot corner of hell reserved for anyone that lifts their hand. In fact, Jesus Christ himself says, if anyone offends one of these little ones that believes in me, it would be better for that man than a millstone was tied round his neck and he was cast into the depths of the sea. So ultimately, there may be nothing we can do about it like right now, but ultimately, thank God, judgment will be done. Now, I want to move away from this because I'll tell you why. I've got so much other stuff that I want to cram in, and we've already been going for an hour, which is nuts. It seems like the hour has disappeared. I wanted to get talking to you about this, and this is something, and I'll just give you a warning alert, a trigger alert for anyone here right now. If you are unsettled at the thought of being properly invaded in large numbers and literally life as you know it changing, as John has talked about since I've connected with him, and we cover this frequently on the channel, you need to understand what is happening in Spain at the minute. The leadership, or the people that are currently not controlling, dictating what's happening in Spain at the minute, are like the Irish government on steroids. And of course, what the Irish government sees, the Irish government wants to do. It's like monkey see, monkey do. So Spain have opened the floodgates and tried to push through legal citizenship for 500,000 men that are there supposedly to provide labor. But we all know, and I'm about to show you this video, this is taken from Spain this week. You tell me, show me the women, show me the children, show me the elderly, show me the infirm, show me anything other than an army. And I'm going to show the video now, John. And then when the video finishes, then you guys can leave your thoughts and comments in this. This is Spain this week, and this could be coming to Ireland, as in these guys, not the people that are ready. These guys, and they are all men, could be coming to Ireland. In fact, they might even be on their way. I'm looking out the window in case there's some of them in the park over there. But this could be coming to Cavan, to Bangor, to Larne, to Cork, to wherever it is, to Drogheda, to wherever it is that you are tonight, folks. So watch this and understand what is on its way. Okay. Is that not a hellscape and a half?
It is, but it's much worse than that, Rick, and I'll tell you why. As
Tony,
we
clip, by the way.
As we speak, there are at least 600,000, mostly men, gathered in North Africa, actively trying to get to Europe. And most of those people will try and come in through Spain, all right? That's even before we talk about these 500,000 plus criminal illegal invaders, criminal illegal invaders that are already in Spain. Now, I heard a female far-left MEP, she's a Spanish MEP, hard-left MEP. She thinks this is a great idea because all of these people she wants them all given citizenship as well, and then they can all outvote the far right, ensure the far right do not get into power in Spain. This is this dumb fuck of a woman. I heard her. She's in a party called Podemos, I think they're called in Spain. They're a far left party. Now, here's the bad news. The bad news is that this may be a stroke of genius by the Spanish government who want to get rid of these people out of Spain. And we have to remember that the Irish GDP per capita is 3 times as big as as the Spanish GDP is per capita. All right, that's a fact. And the stark reality is that and it's actually more than 500,000. The 500,000 plus criminal illegal aliens that were told last week that they're going to be allowed to stay in Spain, they can legally get on airplanes and head for Treasure Ireland as soon as they get their documentation from the Spanish government. I kid you not. The 500,000 plus of these criminal illegal invaders can legally, upon receipt of the documentation regularizing them in Spain, when they get that documentation from the left wing, the far left Spanish government, they can all legally get on planes and fly to Treasure Ireland, and there is nothing you or me or anyone else or Jim O'Callaghan or anyone else. Well, Jim O'Callaghan can't, but there's no willingness there. They can all head to Treasure Ireland. I'll say that again. The 500,000 plus criminal illegal invaders that last week were granted permission to stay in Spain by the far left communist government in Spain can legally all get on airplanes and travel to Treasure Ireland and be living next door to you within the next few days or as soon after they get their documentation as they possibly can get a flight to Ireland. They can be here legally. Now, you might say, oh, you're wrong, John, because Ireland's not in the Schengen area. They can stay in Ireland for 3 months, okay, without having to have any kind of documentation, any kind of visa. That's even if they have to have a visa. But the fact that we're not in the Schengen area, and I heard it said that they need a visa here, right? Mm-hmm. History has shown us that once somebody gets to Treasure Ireland with no papers, or gets here by any means necessary from Northern Ireland or from wherever, they can stay here, and it will be next night impossible to get rid of them because there is no willingness to get rid of them. These people are criminal illegal aliens, and we may very well see these people in our local villages and towns and cities very, very soon. That's the sad reality, and that's even before we'd even mention what's happening between the dictatorial European Union and India in relation to Indians coming in here. We are losing.
Sorry for, I'm not trying to be rude, but sometimes you say stuff and I don't want to miss it. All right, so it's like you've just mentioned something there. So we're looking primarily here at a thing that was signed off by the Spanish government, right? Yeah. And at the minute, John, it is directly affecting Spain, but there's nothing to stop all of the guys that are on this video. There's nothing to say that dozens of them, maybe all of them, aren't on their way to Dublin. It's possible because they can do that. Now, this is in addition, because we didn't get a chance to talk about this because you were recuperating. But a deal was signed off by Ursula von der Leyen, and she called it the mother of all deals, the mother of all deals, or the mother
Yeah.
of all trade arrangements, or commerce arrangements
Yeah.
with India, in that that we want the talent and the knowledge and the know-how, etc., to have the ability to go anywhere, to enrich anywhere that they decide to go to. And that will be a one-way thing, John.
Yeah.
That will be a one-way thing in that, you will not be finding tens of thousands of Irish people or English people or Welsh people or French people heading to India for a better life in Delhi. Most likely, some people might, but the vast majority of the traffic is coming one way. And with the population of India being what, 1.5 billion or so,
1.47 billion. 1.47 billion.
Call it 1.5 billion. 1.5 billion people are effectively going to have the doors opened up for them to move into Ireland or into Europe or wherever it happens to be, to make a better life and make those countries better. So this is going to be potentially, in addition to the massive influx of people that are going to be coming in from North Africa. And you said yourself, there's squads, there's legions of people sitting, waiting in boats at the minute to cross from North Africa and from Libya or from Egypt or from Morocco. They'll head towards Italy, or they'll head towards Spain or Portugal, and then they will make their inroads through Germany, possibly through France, possibly getting to England, where they may then decide to come to Belfast and down to Dublin, or go directly to Dublin, wherever else. I mean, I'm not being dramatic here, but this stuff that you and I have been talking about, not only, you made the comment, it's not getting any better, is it? Is there any case made that it's not getting infinitely worse, or will get much worse this year?
More bad news. Councillor Tom McDonald is an independent councillor in Kildare. And he has said that the government are actively looking for 14,000 beds to accommodate more invaders as we speak. This is a new thing now, right?
Is this in Kildare? Is this across Ireland?
Yeah, Tom McDonald he's a Kildare
an
independent Kildare councillor, a great man. He does great work, okay?
Yep.
I saw a post today from him saying that the government are actively looking for 14,000 beds to accommodate, well, I call them invaders. They're not asylum seekers. There are no asylum seekers in Ireland. There are no genuine asylum seekers here. Everybody that claimed asylum in Ireland after traveling through safe countries to get here, to get to Treasure Ireland, is a bogus asylum seeker, is a criminal, illegal, alien invader. A criminal, illegal invader. Okay, they're criminals, all right? They are criminals. But despite all of the nice words and the supposed change of policy by our treacherous, treasonous government, they're doing nothing. It's getting worse. Every day it's getting worse. And now you saw what happened to Philip Dwyer in the video you showed yesterday as well, where he went up to a public place, a public area near the City West Plantation Centre. And he was let's put it this way, he was hassled by a security officer. Okay? This is an area where there's a restaurant and there are several other premises that are open to the public. This area is open to the public, that's my understanding. And you saw the treatment, you saw the focus there is on Philip Dwyer. Everywhere that Philip Dwyer appears, he's targeted by either the guards or by security staff, all right? And told to leave the area. This is like living in the old Soviet Union. This is like living under the Stasi, with the Stasi as the police. Unfortunately, on Garda Síochána is rapidly turning into a Stasi type police force. But in relation to, I mentioned the figure of 600,000 people that are actively trying to get, they're currently in North Africa trying to get to Europe. I think the figure, I mean, at one stage a couple of years ago, Mary Robinson, our former president, who's now an absolute, she's an open border scumbag. She doesn't believe in borders or nation states. No.
Did you see her this week? Did you see her this week? Still coming out with the same thing. They're brave.
Yeah, no, I did. But she mentioned in a previous interview I saw with her, it's gone back about 18 months, 2 years ago. At that time, she said that there were 200 million people actively trying to get into Europe because of climate change and from war-torn countries. All right. We are on the verge of civilizational erasure in Europe. I'm interested in Ireland, but this is happening all over Europe. Look what's happening in France and in Germany. The German economy is on the verge of collapse.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's been totally wokeified and hijacked by these green fucking environmental lunatics that have destroyed they've nearly destroyed many of the industries in Germany. And I mean, if even as recently as 10 years ago, Germany was the powerhouse economy of the European Union, well, this totalitarian European Union, as it now is. Okay, these people, there's no end to the influx of criminal legal invaders. And as I've said many, many times, and I'm probably boring people at this stage, I've said it to someone so many times, the EU Migration Pact that our treasonous government signed up to is going to take full effect next June. And the EU Migration Pact is a death warrant for the Irish race. The EU Migration Pact is a death warrant for the Irish race, because people are going to arrive in Greece and in Italy from North Africa and from other countries. They're going to be registered, and it's going to be based on the highest GDP, and there'll be an awful lot of people shipped into this country, and we will have no say in the matter. We had an opt-out, we should have opted out, but yet our treacherous, treasonous government signed up to the EU Migration Pact. They ignored the derogation that Ireland had, because they knew that the opposition would be muted, and unfortunately, that's come to pass. There's really no opposition to it, apart from you and me and the people that we're associated with, people in the New Irish Nationalist Movement. There's no opposition. There is no opposition to this. The government were pushing at an open door in relation to this treacherous, treasonous policy. They go down to where Michael Collins, down to Béal-na-Bláth every year to commemorate Michael Collins. If Michael Collins were to come back to life, he would put Slimy Harris and Traitor Martin et al. Up against the wall, and he would shoot every one of them. That's a fact. Now, like Micheál Martin acts like a big dog and pisses like a puppy. He's only a political pygmy. That's all he is, a pygmy. But he may just be a political pygmy, but he's our prime minister. He's our representative on the world stage. And again, to say what I've said many times, we are cursed with the weak politicians we currently have, and not just in Ireland but throughout Europe. It's horrendous. Apart from Viktor Orban and some of the Polish politicians, there are virtually no strong politicians out there anymore. But a little chink of light. It's my understanding that the Latvian government have told von der Scumbag that they're not taking in any more migrants and they're not going to pay any fines. Now, I'd say that there weren't exactly too many of these criminals heading to Latvia, but that's not the point. I think the foreign minister said last week that Latvia are not going to take any of these migrants, and they're not going to pay any EU fines for refusing to do so. That's a little chink of light. We need widespread opposition to the EU Migration Pact coming from mainland Europe. Is that going to happen? I sincerely hope so. The Hungarians are not going to allow anybody in. The Polish are not going to allow anyone in. Now, if what I'm hearing from Latvia, right, there's a few other countries like Czechia, I think is Slovakia as well, is not going to accept anyone in. But Ireland, we are the gobshites. We are clearly the weak link in the European chain when it comes to the invasion of our country and of our continent. And unfortunately, our politicians, regardless of their mealy-mouthed words, they have no intention of taking action. They have no intention of stopping the invasion of a beautiful country. As I've said many times before, Ireland is seen as an Ireland that can take another 5 or 6 million people. They want to increase the population of Ireland up to around 10, 11, 12 million people.
Yeah, but
all they're interested in doing is more customers. But the Irish race, we've never been in as much peril as we are at the moment. I was on a WhatsApp call earlier on this evening with he's an American guy. I was talking to a guy in America. He's a former producer of a very high-profile podcast in the United States of America. And we'll be talking to him now in the next week or so again. We're trying to bring our message to the American people, to show the American people, the Irish Americans that are funding Sinn Féin or Sharia Féin, that the Sinn Féin of 20 and 30 years ago is not the Sinn Féin of today. And they are pumping in money in here. They are contributing enormous sums of money to Sinn Féin from America, and that has got to be stopped. We have to convince these people that what they are literally doing is funding the destruction of Ireland and of the Irish race.
Yeah, without a doubt. You mentioned the political pygmy, your friend Trader Martin. I want to look at some of the. This will relate, by the way, to people that are listening to this at the minute, especially if you have been suffering with the weather and you're living in flooded areas. A lot of people left messages under my videos this week to say that their hometowns were flooded and there was little to no help or assistance coming from the government here. This is just a screenshot. And I did a video about this a couple of days ago where he went to Enniscorthy. Martin went there in his luxury Lexus, armor plated, with his entourage and his Land Rovers. And he walked around completely feckless into people's houses, John. Poor people their floors were warped, their wallpaper was peeling, they were pensioners, they had nowhere, they had no insurance, they had no hope whatsoever. No. And he just nodded his head and made some grunting noises. And when he was challenged and put on the spot by some of a local publican who had just lost his business to say, we need action. We need actual leadership now, to which Martin nodded and grunted, and he says, we're going to drive this home. We're going to drive this home. I don't know if he was talking about his armored car or he was talking about what not, but here's a screenshot, John, that I think a picture speaks 1,000 words. And if you look at this screenshot here, this is from his own social media page. And of course, he only visited this place because he was either pressurized to do it or because he thought it would make a good political photo opportunity. Yeah. But here he is. This last week has been devastating for many people who have seen their homes and businesses severely damaged by flooding. So that's what he says. He then said, I wanted to come today to meet those people impacted and hear their firsthand experiences. Well, he did go. He did meet those people firsthand. He did hear how they were impacted firsthand. But the question is, what's he going to do about it?
You know, and I know what he's going to do about it. Very, very little. SFA. Mm-hmm. You can see that's a very appropriate picture because he's looking down on the man he's talking about, really. He's looking down on him. Really, he's there just waffling, bullshitting. It's all generic waffle and generic bullshit. We will provide funding now to help you out here and whatever. If they spent a fraction on putting in proper drainage throughout the country, a fraction of the billions of euro of hard-earned Irish taxpayers' money that they're wasting to facilitate and to incentivize the destruction of our country and the destruction of the Irish race, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? This is all climate. I mean, I had to laugh today, even on a local radio station. I was in a shop and the local radio station was on, and they were talking about status yellow and status orange, really, but the rain warning for Cavan. Well, now, we're looking in Cavan and Monaghan, it's just going to be a status yellow warning, they reckon. It's not going to be orange, they don't think, When I was growing up, it was called the Irish winter, it was called rain, it was called weather. No, everything is coded now. This is all to really control the people, make people fearful. Status orange, status red, status yellow. This fool is down there. He just went down there just to kind of nod the head and to wave his hands around. That's all he did. He offered a couple of meaningless sentences to this poor unfortunate man. Really, Micheál doesn't give a flying fuck about this man or about nobody else. He doesn't care. He just doesn't care. It's all down to bad. I mean, hold on a minute. Most of this flooding is down to the vast majority of this flooding is down to bad management, bad governance. And who's the Taoiseach of our country? Who's the leader of our country? That traitorous, treasonous, limp lettuce bastard.
Yeah. And the thing is too, and again, I don't wish ill on anyone, even people that were silly enough to continue to vote for Martin and Harris for Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael. They say the turkeys vote for Christmas every year. The turkeys voted for Christmas. They got this government re-elected again at the last elections in November 2024. We're now into January 2026. The penny maybe is dropping with many of them who this guy who's looking dejected, who's been flooded out. I don't know who he is, but he could have voted Fianna Fáil in the last election. I don't know, but either way, John, Harris and Martin do not discriminate against people whether they voted for them or not. They just show the same level of contempt for everybody. And we've talked about this over the last, several live streams. We talked about Martin going to China. We talked about Martin going to Brazil. We talked about Martin going to the Middle East. We talked about how he entertained Vladimir Zelensky before Christmas time. And every time he appeared on the world stage, the checkbook, the money printing machine was kicked in. So money for African sickness, money for the climate in the Amazon, money for Ukraine, money for Palestine, money for this, money for that, money for the other. The cost of IPAS accommodation is going up this year, even though allegedly the amount of residents has gone down over $1 billion a year. So why can he not act with the same level of urgency and the same speed and with the same level of commitment to the people literally on his own doorstep? This I just don't get how people can still, or maybe they're not, maybe they're just zombies now, but how can why would that guy even allow this rat into his house? Most of the rats would have went out when the water came up, but this big rat came in.
Well, Derek Domino had a video up about Robert Troy, and he called him a cockroach. And then he put up another video the next day in which he apologized to cockroaches. And I have to apologize to limp lettuces for calling that fucking yoke a limp lettuce. It's quite simple, Rick. As I alluded to earlier, 80% of our people are sitting on their hands, that being, the majority of whom have been cowed down so badly that they don't want it. They're afraid to stand up and be counted, or they don't want to stand up and be counted because it will affect how people think of them and look at them. The same thing here. Most people he went down there. He went around visiting people. He shook hands with a lot of people down there. People were delighted to meet him and shake his hand. He should have been fucking put under the water. Well, I can't talk about violence here. Sorry.
Just for a hair wash, obviously, to clean himself, not for anything else.
He went down there. He just bullshitted the poor old devils. He bullshitted. These people are victims. They are victims of incompetence. They are victims of bad governance. I'd say over 90+% of these problems are caused by bad drainage, lack of investment in providing proper drainage in these towns and villages and in these areas generally. Okay, but yet he went down there in the knowledge that he was going to be entertained and given tea and biscuits. Right? This man makes me sick. Every time I have to look at his ugly mug, it literally turns my stomach. All right. He is a traitorous, treasonous scumbag. Apologies to all the decent scumbags that might be listening.
Yeah,
and this man is a blot. This man is a blot on the Irish political landscape. And it's our fault. Elections have consequences. The Irish people put back in, by and large, the same politicians. On the 29th of November 2024, the Irish people went out and they voted back in the same treacherous bastards that have been there for many years beforehand. This is just, it's infuriating. These problems, there was no need for the flooding problems, for many of the flooding problems that we witnessed over the last week or so. It's down to lack of investment, government incompetence, government neglect, government negligence, gross negligence. All right, but yet he felt safe and comfortable going down there now to kind of glad hand these people, to say a few nice, compassionate words. I'm sure he waved his hands around and in his normal fashion. And I'd say he might have thrown in a few new sentences, new buzzwords, that he was given by his advisors to make him sound human and compassionate. Where is your humanity? We all know about Micheál's great humanity for everybody else, bar the Irish people. If you're Irish, don't come into the parlour. There's no welcome there for you.
No, there's no magic wand either. That's another thing he came out with.
Oh no,
maybe
I know where I'd love to stick that magic wand. I can tell you that he's talking about.
But imagine saying that, right? You're in someone's house. They've just been flooded out. You've done nothing for them, and you're going to do nothing for them. And when asked, why aren't you moving with more urgency than this? Your answer is, there's no magic wand that can be waved, and I can't just lift the magic wand to make this happen. But he does have a magic wand, John. He has a magic wand for Palestine. He's got a magic wand for Ukraine. He's got a magic wand for the Amazon. He's got a magic wand for IPAS centers. He's got a magic wand for Ukrainian refugees. He has lots of magic wands. And again, back to the question, what's it going to take for the penny to actually drop and the actual awakening to happen with the people that actually voted for this rodent in.
And you're forgetting the fact that hate speech Helen signed a big check last week to pay for the energy costs of the Ukrainian people.
That's right.
While people in her own country are literally freezing in their houses, many people, and that's not an exaggeration, many Irish people are literally freezing in their houses because they can't afford to heat their houses properly, especially elderly people, and not just elderly people. But they're doing it. They're committing these treasonous acts in the knowledge that most Irish people will sit back and do nothing about it. 75% of Irish people continue, in every opinion poll, are not happy with immigration, with the invasion of our country. But the vast, vast majority of these people, that very, very high percentage of that 75%, are not willing to do anything about it, and they will continue to vote the way that they've always voted. Right, and I'm going to say, in relation to voting, we have two by-elections coming up in this country very, very soon. One in Dublin South Central, which has been held to replace Paschal Donoghue, who's gone out to take over and become one of the top men in the World Bank, and the other one is over in Galway West to replace President Communist Catherine Communist Connolly. All right. Now, those two by-elections, watch them very, very carefully, because we're going to get a fair indication of the thinking of the average Irish man and an average Irish woman with the results of these two by-elections. Now, Sinn Féin it's looking like they're going to run Harvey's mother as a candidate in the Dublin Central by-election.
Yes,
I kid you not. How that poor unfortunate woman could have anything got to do with that party is beyond me, but it's her own decision. She's a lady, she can make up her own mind, all right? And I would say that Sinn Féin, if they pick her, will stand a very, very high chance of winning that seat. Over in Galway, one of the candidates is a Nigerian. She's a Nigerian county councillor. She's running for the Labour Party.
Yeah.
I know Noel Thomas is running for Independent Ireland. He's the former Fianna Fáil county councillor that left the party because of that traitorous scumbag, Micheál Martin. Because he stood up for his people. Himself and another councillor, they stood up for their people when there was a proposed plantation centre was burned out by Maguire and Patterson. Obviously broke into it and set it on fire and burned it down. Again, I'm not condoning violence, but I'm not condoning such acts. Of course, I'm not.
No.
But we'll see now. And by the way, just as an aside, there's a case. Not many people are aware of this, but there's a case making its way very slowly through the High Court in relating to the fact that criminal illegal aliens were allowed to vote in our last local elections. And God knows how many county councillors were elected by the votes of criminal illegal invaders into this country. Now, the judiciary, the government are dragging their heels in this case. My understanding is that they have already, Patrick McGrail took the case, the great Patrick McGrail. And my understanding is that the government have conceded that they shouldn't have allowed them to vote, but they did vote. And how many of these county councillors that we hear about here in our media talking about diversity and inclusion, how many of those people were actually elected by the votes of criminal illegal invaders? Now, I know the government are dragging their heels. They're hoping to drag it out for years, because if this case comes to pass and if it goes against the government, it's going to be a major, major scandal that they won't be able to hide, and it's going to waken up an awful lot of people that have remained asleep for the last number of years. Even though, as far as I'm concerned, there's no excuse for remaining asleep. There's no excuse for sitting on your hands and doing fuck all. But anyhow, that's where we are. Very interesting. I know any of your commenters said that elections, we're not going to solve this by elections. Well, if you want to start an army, see how many people join you to kind of try and overthrow this traitorous.
If parents can't get together in more than ones or twos to deregister their children from schools because they're being harmed ideologically, there is no way in hell the same parent will risk their job, their house, and their freedom to take up arms and to physically resist any opposing force. It's just a matter of fact. So there's a lot of people say the time for talking is over, but the people that say time for talking is over are also talking. And by the way, I'm not knocking anyone here, but let's have a reality check. Let's have a reality check. Look around you. At the last nationalist rally that happened in Dublin, there was about 60 people at it. You know, the numbers are dropping. If anything, people people need something to get behind. And the saying is, no one's coming to save you, which I agree on. You can't put your faith in any one person because you can be seriously let down. But if there's not a coming together as a coordinated group with numbers, then this is not going to happen. So this whole dream of a rebellion and a revolution happening and people taking to the streets with pitchforks, etc., it would be great if that was to happen and happen in a non-violent way, because of course we don't advocate for violence. But what else are you going to, if people can't even deregister their kids from school in more than ones and twos, they ain't going to take to the streets for any kind of a revolution. And this is a question that's asked, by the way, and I suppose this has been answered already. Sheepdog, thank you for the comment. To me, the question is, who's going to fire the first bullet? Metaphorically, of course, not advocating, but let's get real. Well, even in a taking a stand manner, Enoch Burke has fired the first metaphorical bullet by taking a stand against Wilson's Hospital School, against transgender ideology. He's done 580 days in Mountjoy. Someone said earlier on, and God bless them, the Dublin Says No crew behind him, 12 to 15 people outside Mountjoy Prison. None of the teachers have came together behind him. The Church of Ireland have not come together behind him. The parents of the other children in the school have not come together behind him. So when someone, unfortunately, Sheepdog, when someone does take the first metaphorical bullet, they usually find that they're looking over their shoulders and they've been shot and they've been left to die alone. Main man Dan, I'm going to read this one as well. Rick, all it's going to take is a spark. It might not start in Ireland. I'm advocating for European-wide rebellion. And listen, I don't rule anything out, all right? And I grew up living just outside of Belfast for my entire life. The so-called troubles were on here. It was daily carnage. Everybody was shooting. The Protestants were shooting Catholics. The Catholics were shooting the Protestants. The army were shooting civilians. The paramilitaries were shooting the army. The police were this, that, and the other. It was absolute hell on earth. And believe me, nobody wants to go back to that again. There is a capacity for it to happen. Who wants to go back to that, John? Who wants to go back to turning on the news every day and seeing a bomb left under a car, or your father or your mother or your kids have been shot or blown up, or this, and this, and everybody's living? It's the working class that are ultimately being affected, while the politicians in Leinster House or in Stormont or in Westminster are riding the pigs back all the way to the bank.
The political wing of the Provisional IRA, who mounted a campaign for over 30 years to free Ireland, for United Ireland, to get Northern Ireland out from under the jackboot of British rule, are now incentivizing the invasion and destruction of Ireland and of the Irish race. Isn't that hard to believe?
Mm-hmm.
Sinn Féin are incentivizing and cheerleading for the destruction of Ireland and of the Irish race. A story that hasn't got very much coverage is the fact that a couple of weeks ago, a Sinn Féin councillor led a mob to a licensed premises in Cavan to close down an event in the Orchard Public House in Cavan, just in Cavan town. All right, a Sinn Féin councillor literally led a mob to the licensed premises to close down an event that they were not happy about, that they wanted to see closed down because the people attending the event hold different political opinions than they do. That's Sinn Féin 2025. And just to say again, the St. Patrick's Day programme for 2025 was announced a couple of days ago. And the publicity photograph had the pictures of three children, three foreign children, not one Irish children appears in that photograph. That is shocking.
I have that, by the way. I'll bring that up since you brought that up.
Yeah, I sent it to you. That is shocking, Rick. That's where we are here. We're in a mess. We are literally watching the destruction of Ireland and of the Irish race in real time. We are literally, every day it's getting worse. And the government, I've said before that 2026 is going to be a pivotal year for the survival of the Irish race. Mm-hmm. And I stand over that prediction.
Let me bring this picture up just because they say a picture says a thousand words. So this is
Yeah.
this appeared today in the Irish Independent, and of course we're now coming up to the middle of February, so give or take a month from now, St. Patrick's Day will be back upon us again. This is the kickoff for it. Santiago Darush, Annabella Ochoa, and Maximo Ochoa. Nothing against those kids. I don't know who they are, by the way. It's just naming their names here, saying they're at the launch of the St. Patrick's Festival 2026 at EPIC, the Irish Emigration Museum. So the program for St. Patrick's Festival 2026 has officially launched in Dublin. And I mean, you don't have to be sharp to realize, John, that in the last few years, St. Patrick's Day and the celebrations, it would have been a sea of green. It would have been a sea of Irish people doing Irish dancing and, you know, playing traditional music. And there'd have been Irish nights in the pubs. And it was a huge night for pub business, you know, traditional sessions, you know, drinking stout, doing all the stereotypical Irish things. Now it seems to be that celebration in that way is only now a percentage, or a smaller percentage of the celebration of St. Patrick's Day in Ireland at the minute. I mean, will it get to the point whereby it's offensive now to wear green or drink a pint of Guinness on St. Patrick's Day in case you offend someone who, for example, maybe doesn't drink alcohol or believes it's haram?
Well, Dublin City Council, they attempted to take down the tricolours in Dublin. We had the News Talk journalists calling everybody who had a flag outside their houses far right. They said that whenever they see a tricolour outside a house, they think that that's a far right house. They regard that house as being a far right household. That's the reality. Colin Meaney, Claire Byrne now has left RTE and she's gone off now to News Talk to make way more money, I would say.
And crap.
Her first guest, no, she promised now it's going to be fantastic, but she promised her first guest was Traitor Martin.
I know.
All right, imagine Traitor Martin. No, very few difficult questions asked, of course. She then had an actor on called Colin Meaney.
Yeah.
Colin Meaney is a very famous actor, and he spent the interview, I didn't hear it, but he spent the interview, I read a report of it, he spent the interview ranting about Donald Trump and Donald Trump and Donald Trump and Donald Trump. This is a man who purports to be a great Irish Republican, a great Republican man. I don't hear him talking about the destruction of his native land. I don't hear him talking about the invasion of Ireland. I don't hear him talking about the fact that Irish people will be a minority in this country in a few very, very short years. And I just was going through my bits of paper this evening and I found this. This is from last year. And there's a website, an X account called Irish Statistics. And I understand that this information is from him. And this is from last year. He said in 6 years' time, which will be 5 years' time now, in 6 years' time, 25 to 44-year-olds, native Irish 25 to 44-year-olds will be a minority in Ireland. And he said that in 8 years' time, native Irish people between the ages of 15 and 24 years old will be a minority in Ireland. They're sobering figures. And those figures date from last year. Okay, Irish Statistics. And I think it's getting worse here. Every day it's getting worse. And there's nothing being done to stop what's happening here. There's nothing being done to stop the invasion of our country. That's why the group that I belong to, we're now going to focus on the United States of America to see can we get the Irish Americans to become involved and to try and help us save our beautiful country, our beautiful homeland, the only country that we know. It's the only place we belong. We belong in this country. This is Ireland, our Ireland, and we will fight like hell to save her, as I often say. But having said that, I'm not naive to believe that a saviour is going to come galloping in here on a white charger. No. Nobody is going to gallop in here to save us. We have to save ourselves.
And if there is someone that's spearheading any kind of movement, I don't care what anybody says, it has to be someone who's Irish. It has to be someone who was born and reared on the Emerald Isle. Yes. That is it. You could be the greatest orator, you could be a great thinker, you could be a great strategist, but if you're from Spain or you're from Norway or you're from Wales or you're from wherever, it needs to be an organic thing. And the thing is, I mean, how many times have we got our hopes up and then seen them dashed, there's so many people, I believe, that someone mentioned earlier on, John, about a spark. All it takes is a spark to ignite this. I don't think we need a spark to ignite a movement per se. I think people need to see that there's something viable to get behind in numbers. And there are good people out there. There are good people doing good things and have been doing for a very, very long time, but they only have a small number of people behind them, and they won't get behind anybody else, or nobody else will, support them if they're supporting their own little group. I'm talking about a large scale coming together. I do think we saw it in Dublin last April, specifically in April. I do think we saw it arguably at the first rally in Cork, given that it was right at the bottom of the island, and it was, a much larger journey for a lot of people to get down to. It was still a very significant showing, but the momentum was not capitalized on. And I'm not knocking anyone in particular. Listen, I'm not, but I'm just commenting. I'm commenting on what I saw when I was there in person and witnessed it. I felt there was an electricity, and I'm not being funny, and I'm not woohoo, and I'm not new age. I'm telling you now, I felt something on that Saturday before Easter, or just after Easter, whenever it was last April. And I had someone with me, right, who's not what you would call an Irish nationalist. And he felt it too. He said, this place is crackling on fire. This place is on fire. I've never seen anything like it. Never felt an atmosphere like it before. I'm telling you now, that was there. Something could have been capitalized on, but it wasn't. And it's hard to get that momentum back again, John.
Dublin was fantastic. Cork now was an eye-opener for me. I was shocked by Cork. I was shocked by the level of, I was shocked by how the rebel county, the Cork city, has been infested by this transgender demonic ideology. I was shocked by the fact that the Progress Pride flag held a higher place of pride than the Irish tricolour. It was shocking. I was very, very. It was an eye opener. My visit to Cork was an eye opener. I know. I had a very competent chauffeur that day who drove me down. Mr. Munn drove me down to Cork. But I'm just saying that Irish people are by and large still asleep, Rick. Let's be honest about it. And I keep banging the same drum, but most Irish people are sitting on their hands. They don't want to be called racist or far right, or they don't even, and they're afraid because, oh God, if I'm seen at a protest, I could end up losing my job, but they'll be calling me far right, and they'll be calling me this, and they'll be calling me that. Well, we have a country, ladies and gentlemen of Ireland, we have a country to save, and it's not going to save itself. And if you're sitting back hoping that our traitorous government are going to save our beautiful country, then you're going to be waiting for eternity, because it's never going to happen. It's only going to get worse. And after next June, it's going to get really bad unless there's a major uprising and a major resistance to the Immigration Pact. What we've seen so far is merely a picnic. It's only the starter of what's going to happen here. We're going to see a real invasion starting next June, and that's on top of the fact that these 500,000 plus criminal illegal invaders that were recently given permission to remain in Spain can legally all get on airplanes and travel to Treasure Ireland. They can just arrive here. Once they get residency in Spain, they can legally travel to any other European Union country. Now, where are they going to go to? They're not going to go to Latvia. They're going to go where the richest pickings are. And Ireland is classed as one of the richest countries on planet Earth.
There's a question there, John. I prefer actually that you don't answer it, but in the perspective
how bad will it be? Well, Tucker Carlson said that Irish people will be a minority here in 100 years' time. It's not going to take nothing
won't
like
be 100. It won't even be 20.
I think on the current levels of immigration into Ireland, both legal immigration is killing us too. Legal immigration and illegal immigration. Irish people are going to be a minority in this country. I would say, like that commentator mentioned 20 years. I'd say in 20 years' time, within 20 years' time, there's a strong danger that Irish people will become a minority or nearly minority in Ireland.
Well, 1 in 4 at the minute 1 in 4 people at the minute, unless I'm mistaken, are non-Irish born. So that's 25% at the minute. And given this new mother of all pacts that von der Leyen has engineered with India, and given the way that Spain is going, and Spain, it won't stop with Spain. The like of Macron and the like of even Giorgia Meloni, she talked a big lot of talk about immigration and this, that, and the other. But Italy's still being used as a thoroughfare for people to come via Italy into other parts of Europe and make their way on through. A lot of talking and the like of Micheál Martin. I mean, he's got to be looking at Spain right now going, well, if Spain can do it, we can do it, because we have to be as left and globalist and European centered as we possibly can. Just a quick question here. Quadrex left a nice comment there. Hopefully I bump into you out and about and shake hands in solidarity. Both of you, voices of reason. Thank you, Quadrex. And actually, a good thing, a beautiful thing is there's a lot of people in the chat, or at least several people in the chat, who we did bump into at various protests. I think I noticed Saoirse Nahern putting a comment up there about Cork being a lefty city. That's where we bumped into her, both of us, John, and she was with a friend, I think, at the time. It was maybe her first protest. Yeah. And she actually appeared in one of the videos that I did on the thing. So Quadrex, where are you based? Where are you based? I'm not saying that we're going to go out of our way to meet you, but you never know if there's something going on in your town, or we're going to be there, or anybody for that matter. A lot of people have came up and said hello and spoke to me, and have met some amazing people just as I've been out walking the streets in various places. And I know you have too, John. And thank you, by the way, Mushy Season, for the gift. And just to reiterate, sorry for this, John, housekeeping. Some people have been messaging to say that they've tried to show a little bit of support for the channel, but the buttons aren't working on the YouTube channel. If they don't work and you want to do it, I'm not asking anybody to do it, but if you want to do it and these buttons don't work, you can try the link through to Buy Me a Coffee. And the reason why that's up there is because people message me to say, where can we do something if we want to? So if you want to do it, if you don't, I'm just guiding you. If it doesn't work for you, there are alternatives. So anyway, you've met a lot of good people too, John.
I have met some amazing people over the last few years, some amazing people on the protests in Dublin there. I met some great people, and many of the people that I met, their families are broken up because of this issue. There's infighting, and you have sons against parents, and it's just horrendous. Sons and daughters against their parents, calling them racist. I won't go into too much detail, but I know where you're coming from. To be totally, I know where you're coming from on that issue. But that last comment that I was on about, hello, Marie. Is it Maria? I'm blind as a bat. Maria
Mulvey.
Yeah, Marie. Sorry. The previous post that I put up about did Tucker Carlson drink Irish whiskey? Tucker Carlson is big into cheese. His cheeses. He's a cheese expert. He loves cheese. I don't know about his love for whiskey, Irish or otherwise, but he loves cheese. There are school principals in this country who are taking pride in the fact that they have numerous different ethnic groups within their schools. They are taking pride in the fact that I think there's even a competition to see how many different nationalities are in different schools around the country. I think I sent you the letter of the school principal. I'm not going to say where it is for the moment, but a school principal, he stopped an event taking place in his area. He's a school principal. He wrote into the licensed premises and said that he's the principal of that school, and that it's a very diverse school and all the different ethnicities in the school. And basically speaking, he didn't want these far right, these people who hold the views that he finds distasteful. He didn't want this event taking place in this particular licensed premises. I think this man will be hopefully held to account at some stage and asked to justify his letter. And if he was writing on his own behalf, or as the principal of the school, well, he wrote as principal of the school because that's in the letter. But anyhow, there's just I don't know, and I know I bang the same drum over and over again. I'm playing the same tune a different way in nearly every podcast. But I have an idea for a future podcast, maybe even next week, if you kindly invite me back. If the people listening could send in suggestions of ways to save our country and ways to save the Irish race going forward. I have my own ideas. I will outline them. I have a few ideas I have them written down here. I I would reveal those ideas at a later stage. But if people want to message you, Rick, with their suggestions on how to save Ireland and how to save the Irish race.
Right. Well, let's do that. Right. Let's do that. So John Wilson has made a suggestion. Okay. Now, not that maybe it'll come to nothing, but hell, you can but try. If you have a suggestion, if you have some kind of strategy, I have an email address that's on the channel page on my YouTube channel. There's an email address there. Forward me an email, and I'll be honest with you guys, I am the worst communicator on email. I hate emails. I look at them, I read them all, I reply to very few. It's rude, I know, and it's lazy, I know, but I'm a talker. I'm not a typer, and I'm not a writer. I'm a talker, okay? But excuse me, bringing up wind there. Send me an email, and what I'll do is I will forward it to John, and he can have a read over it. And if you want, you can compile some of the best points, John, and we can address them and give credit to the people that suggested them. And by the way, here's an encouragement for you, John, and for me, and for everybody else listening here. I've highlighted this comment from Charlie O'Reed. Charlie says, hello, Rick and John. I've been listening for a while now. It's the first time I've commented on your live. Thank you for the comment, Charlie. Thank you for waking me up to what is really going on. So there's one person, at least, John, we've got a testimony here tonight. At least one person has been jolted into consciousness by the efforts that we have tried to make. And, you know, thank God for one at least.
Yeah. Well, I'll just give you one of mine. Is Irish citizenship must be confined to men and women who have a direct Irish bloodline. End of story. Because at present, our treacherous, treasonous government are giving out Irish citizenship at a rate of at least 2,000 every month. Well, that's the way it was last year, from what I can see. All right. They are giving away Irish citizenship cheaply. An Indian can come into work come into work in a restaurant cleaning toilets in Ireland and be an Irish citizen in 3 years' time. That's going to be up to 5 years, but it doesn't change the principle. An Indian can come to work in a restaurant in Ireland cleaning toilets and be an Irish citizen within a few short years. That has to stop. We have to put an end to this. This is our Ireland. Irish people are only 0.06% of the population of the world. And if the majority of Irish people don't wake up very, very soon, it will be too late to save our race, to save our great race, to save our great Irish race, and to save our great country, the country of Ireland here. And just a clear message again to people of this country. Don't be cowed down. Get up off your knees. Stand up strong and proud. Join us, and together we will take our country back.
Yeah, together. And that's the key, because a lot of people are writing comments here and saying about unity and talking about people coming together. And if that's not there, listen, you can have the best ideas in the world. John could actually come up with a solution tonight, and it could be the key to reversing all of this. But if it's not implemented, and it's not implemented in numbers, it's just a good idea. It's just a great solution. So that's why we're pushing for at least getting together. I mean, like, here's once a week. And tell me this, I'm asking a question again to the live chat. So if you're sitting listening to me now and you're focusing in on what we're saying here, you know, I'm still experimenting with, you know, this channel and how I deliver content, and even doing these live streams. I'm just trying to figure out what works best, not just for me, but for a guest like John, or for you guys that come in and leave comments and support the channel, you know, trying to find a balance. So let me ask a question. And again, this is just market research on my part. Is this thing it's been going now for about 4 weeks, give or take. So is this now something that's in your head that you would sort of subconsciously at least say, okay, Thursday night, 7:30, there's a live stream on, and I'm going to listen to it because I'll hear bits and pieces of what I like. Do you stumble upon this? Do you go out of your way to say, right, this is part of the sort of viewing schedule of the week? Let me know, because if it's just completely random, you know, it's just potluck whether or not we get an audience in. Thank God we do every week. But if it's starting to be something that people are not don't want to say you're getting conditioned, because it sounds like some kind of, MK Ultra experiment here. We're brainwashing Ireland to tune into us on a Thursday night at 7:30, John. But I can remember as a kid at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night, Top of the Pops was on, and then after Top of the Pops, it was Dallas. When I was about 6 years of age, that was what you looked forward to on a Thursday night, or whatever on a Saturday night. So what I'm trying to say is this something that you feel that is of bent, like a communal gathering on a Thursday? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying here, but let me know what you think in the comments section. Somebody said, yeah, they're stumbling upon it, but I suppose stumbling's better than nothing, isn't it? But it would be cool if it was like an established thing, would it not?
Yeah, but I mean, and when people talk about, I talk about, we need mass deportations. And we can deport people without hating them. You don't have to hate someone to deport them. We are fighting to save. We are literally fighting for the survival of the Irish race. It doesn't mean we have to hate anybody else. I feel uneasy about deporting children. I really do. But we have no option. If we have a clear choice to make, do we want to save Ireland? Do we want to save the Irish race? If the answer to that is yes, we have to deport people. We have to deport hundreds of thousands of people from this country. We have to deport all of the criminals and social welfare tourists, and the vast majority of the Roma scourge that are here as well. They all have to be deported from Ireland. The economic migrants, the criminals, and the social welfare tourists have got to be thrown out of this country, removed. And they're mostly from within the European Union, by the way, not back to Africa. But in relation to the asylum seekers, to the bogus asylum seekers, the criminal legal aliens, they have got to be rounded up and they have to be mass deported. They have to be all thrown out of this country. And I don't really give a damn where they end up, to be totally honest with you. I'm only interested and concerned about the welfare of Ireland and of the welfare of the Irish people. That's it. Simple, end of story. We have to fight like hell to save the Irish race. Yeah. It's as simple as that. We are literally at war for the survival of the Irish race as we speak. And unfortunately, we've been speaking a long time, almost a year now, Rick. Well, the last
year in May.
Yeah, year in May. And nothing has improved. It's got steadily worse. The situation in this country has got steadily worse. The invasion has continued apace and is showing no signs of slowing up, regardless of what the bottom paid for mainstream media. The media arm of our traitorous, treasonous government tell us the numbers are not dropping. The numbers of invaders are not dropping. The number of people coming in here legally is not dropping. It's increasing. And between what's happened in Spain last week and this horrendous, treacherous, or this awful deal that's been done between Ursula von der Fuckhead and the Indian government, we are in danger of becoming a minority in this country faster than I predicted, or that anyone has predicted. Mm-hmm. That's the sad reality on this rainy, as the wind batters down on the windows around me here. On this rainy Thursday evening in Cavan, in County Cavan. But listen, the decision is ours. It's up to ourselves. There's nobody going to gallop in here to save us. No outside savior is going to come in and save us here. No. We're going to have to save ourselves. Unfortunately, things are not improving. Okay, I've met an awful lot of fantastic, wonderful people over the last few years. Fantastic people. But unfortunately, the majority of Irish people just seem to it's not that they don't care. They'll tell you they care, but they're not willing to pay any form of price to save our native land. That's the sad reality. They don't want to be called 30 names. They don't want to be called far right. Okay, they don't want to be called far right. They don't want to be called, oh, you're a hater. You hate people. You hate black people. You hate people. You're a racist. You hate people that are different to you. Absolute bullshit. We are Irish. We are proud Irish people, and never be ashamed to say I'm a proud Irish person. I'm a proud Irish man or a proud Irish woman.
Yeah, you should wear it on your sleeve as a. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to hide or something to ever apologize for.
Oh, no.
And
never apologize.
Yeah, I want to draw this kind of to close. And I'm stunned actually, because before we came on, somebody had put a message up to say that there's rugby on tonight, and things might be a little bit quiet. There's been the numbers have not, and we've been on for 2 hours and 5 minutes now. The numbers have not subsided at all, actually, which is amazing. And for that, again, it's encouraging for, I hope for you, John, and for me, that there are people that aren't just tuning in for a minute and then bugging off to watch the rugby. But if you want to do that, that's fine. But what I'm trying to say is, you mentioned it's a stinking rotten old night in Cavan. It's the same here. The wind's howling, and the rain's beating off the windows. It's Baltic. It's freezing here. But at least, we might be virtual. You're all watching this on a device of some sort. John's sitting in Cavan. I'm sitting up here in County Down. You're spread all over Ireland and the UK and Europe and the world. But, just for this couple hours, without being all cheesy on it, you kind of do forget about the weather, and you realize that you're not on your own, that there's hundreds of people, literally hundreds and hundreds of people. There's been thousands of comments been posted on the live chat, and no one's been fighting. This is important. I haven't had to ban anybody. I haven't had to kick anybody off. I haven't had to tell anyone to wind their necks in. For me, that's amazing too, that you can get so many people from the island of Ireland together in one place, John, for 2 hours, and no one's came to blows or no one said something to piss anybody else off. Not because we're all nicey people, but I think we're all mature here, and we're all genuinely have a vested interest in what's coming next.
Say this loudly and say this clearly. Ireland belongs to the Irish. Ireland belongs to the Irish. Ireland belongs to the Irish. This is Ireland, our Ireland, and we will fight like hell to save her.
One of your great sayings, first ever heard you saying it down in Carrickmacross, and my first ever visit to County Monaghan. And, you've been coming out with some great slogans. I'm not just saying that. I'm not being flippant, and I'm not being a smart ass. You've come up with some great statements, and not just you, but I've heard other people picking up on them, and they've got their way into people's minds, and they've got their way into people's mentalities. And even the guy, Charlie, I think it was Charlie that left the message earlier on to say, you know what, I've been watching for a while. I've never commented, but thanks very much. You've helped to shake me awake. So, if we can get a Charlie every day, or several of them, or you guys out there can share the content out there, other people might be waiting in the wings. They might be just waiting in the wings, and eventually they pop their head above the parapet and they say, actually, yes, it's time for me to speak up. Look at Paula, when she came on the show there a few weeks ago as well. That was her stepping out of her comfort zone as well, and God bless her for doing that as well. Thank you for doing that as well, Paula. And even you, unless I'm mistaken, John Wilson, apart from a thing you did 10 years ago about whistleblowing for the Garda, you didn't do any of this until last May, did you?
No, I've done quite a bit of radio and stuff and media stuff over the last 12
years. But nothing like this.
Yeah, no. For the podcast, I think the first podcast I did with you, I was on about, I kept saying, I was kind of half asleep. Because I get very stupid as the night even goes on. I'm getting old. But in relation to people being courageous, like, courage is contagious. And I want people to get out and protest. If there's a plantation centre going into your village or into your neighbouring town or village, turn up and protest, because there is strength in numbers, and the more people turn up, the more the people feel more comfortable protesting outside of these plantation centres. And don't mind anyone calling you an outsider. Oh no, he's not from here, he's an outsider. Every Irish man and every Irish woman is a local in every part of Ireland, our Ireland. The outsiders are the criminal, illegal invaders that our treacherous government are incentivizing to invade our beautiful Ireland.
Well, I want to leave it at that. I'd only planned on talking to you for an hour and a half, so we've been 2 hours and 10 minutes, and it has. I'm just saying that it's flown by. A lot of you people, like I said, have give your time. It's not just about John being on here as a guest or me sitting streaming out a live stream. You've also invested your Thursday night. You could have been off doing other things, but you've stayed here, you've contributed, you've shared out, you've left comments. And like I said, share the video out, leave a comment in the uploaded version. It means it gets out there to more people still. And like I said, subscribe to listen, there is a fight going on here there is a shift going on towards AI. There's a shift going on towards inorganic, synthetic AI slop content out there that's suffocating a lot of organic stuff. That's a fact right across all social media platforms. So if you haven't done it, I'm not telling you what to do, but if you listen to this channel and you come back, subscribe and hit the notification bell, please, if you don't mind doing so. So I'm just going to end it, because when I say we're going to wrap this up, we usually talk for another half an hour. So we really are going to wrap this up now. So for everyone in the live chat, again, thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
John, I'm glad you're literally back up on your feet again, and you're feeling stronger as well. You were missed last week, and a shout out to Philip Dwyer for standing in for you last week. The super sub played well. He played well. He might even make the first team someday, but for now, I want to just say, I hope you all keep your heads together. It's windy and stormy out there, batten down the hatches, because there's a storm coming in more ways than one. So that's John Wilson in Cavan Town. I am Rick.
Sorry, Rick. No, I'm not in Cavan Town. I'm in rural Cavan. Please, no, I'm not a town.
He's in a safe house. He's got a safe house. He's got a house in Cavan Town, and he has a safe house, several safe houses across Ireland, actually, and sometimes he broadcasts from, sometimes he doesn't. But anyway, he's down there somewhere. You're not going to find out exactly where. And I'm up here somewhere, and you're not going to find out exactly where. But anyway, to each and every one of you, God bless you all. I hope you all sleep well. And don't forget to check back on the channel tomorrow. I'll be still uploading as normal, because there's no shortage of garbage to wade through, and it's my job to do it. So for now, that's John Wilson. I'm Rick Munn. This is No Risk, No Reward Media live stream, over and out.